This is Mark Anthony with Mercury Time Price Analytics, and welcome to our end-of-day trading video for S&P 500 futures, Tuesday, May 12th. Pretty incredible day today. What you see on the screen is our proprietary algorithmic time price oscillators. We're going to come back to this in just a minute because I'd like to show you exactly what broke and where it broke today. So let's go over here to our live chart. Middle screen is our day trade chart with our oscillators and our proprietary, what we call dynamic pivots that show you key levels during the day. We've got our swing trade algo over here, and then we've got our oscillators over here again. So let me go to screenshot. And this was the short entry. We've got an automated algorithm that provides the long short entries. You can see right here, this is where it triggered, and on the screenshot, we've got the labels here for you. So the automated algo triggered short at 29.2150 today. And what was really interesting is it came down below the roundy, below 2,900. And the first time it came down, it stopped at 99.50. So 2 ticks under the roundy, stopped, turned around. Came down a second time and went 1 tick below that, and that is very, very unusual behavior. Came back up, meandered around a little bit, and then it broke. And once it broke 93, it was just off to the races. Let's take a look at the levels that broke today. And you just can't do much more technical damage in one day than what happened today. So up at the top of the screen, we have our Mercury bands. Now, the Mercury bands are long cycle algorithmic pivots that look for key support or resistance areas, or areas that bisect right through very high volume contested areas. So you can see we've got our Mercury band up here at 29.4457, and that demarcated the high in of the day. Actually, forgive me, this was the high Monday. This was the high today. And it came right up to 39.33. That was another one of our Mercury bands. Now, the Mercury bands, what's interesting about these is these are calculated at the end of the day session the previous day. So what you see here, these were calculated Monday evening after 5 o'clock, after the market had closed. And for our subscribers, this is what it looked like. Now, we noted these key areas here, 92, 90, 28, 92, 28, 90. And then the really important levels were 46 and 47. I put a note on here to keep an eye on 28.52. Very important support on the chart because if that broke, then that gets you down into these 2 Mercury bands at 49 and 46. And if those break, then you've got problems, and that's exactly what happened today. So this comes out prior to the Globex Open each evening, and these are long cycle pivots. So they apply all throughout Globex and then the entire next day session. So when this was produced, and again, this video is being recorded Tuesday the 12th at 9:47 in the evening. These were produced before the Globex session Monday evening. And then what we do is we overlay the levels on the chart, and these have already been updated with tonight's Mercury bands. But these are updated so you can see the price overlay on the chart. Our subscribers get a copy of this, and that's how the Mercury bands work. In the morning, prior to the market opening, we run our Mercury dynamic pivots. And what's interesting about these, and to my knowledge, there is no other system in the industry that does this, but the time cycles that govern trading in ES, they all overlap at one particular minute in the morning. And that's when we run the algos. That gives us the output. It not only gives us the price levels, but it gives us the type of behavior to expect. So these orange pivots, these are trend pivots, and you can see 28.58, we broke the swing trend pivot. Let's go back to the screenshot that shows these levels labeled. Now, we knew this area here, this chunk of price right here was going to be very important, because look at all the pivots you have. Your tick point of control at 29.17.53, the daily algo bull bear pivot at 16.50, and every level on this chart, these are published before the day session opens. So none of this is done after the fact. What's remarkable about our algos is our subscribers get this before the market even opens. So you broke the tick point of control at 17, you broke the bull bear pivot at 16, the multi-day trend short cycle, there's two of those, multi-day trend short cycle and then multi-day trend long cycle. And then you've got what we call a trend confirmation pivot here. So when you start seeing this many important levels bunched up in literally just a couple of handles, when that breaks, as you see here, you've got problems. So that puts you down into the tick acceleration pivot at 28.05. Tick acceleration pivots, first time down into them, they tend to hold at least for a little bit. So you came down here into the 29.05 where the tick acceleration pivot is, bounced right back up to the tick, to the trend confirmation pivot. And again, these were all published before the market opened, before the day session opened. Price jostles around a little bit. And what happens with these acceleration pivots, first time down into them, you get a little bit of support. But then when they do break, they break hard. Now, what was unusual is that you broke and you came down here 2 ticks below 2,900, which is really unusual. So at that point, we knew that either they were going to turn this around and take it directly higher, or when it actually did break, you were going to have some problems. So ultimately, the tick acceleration pivot at 29.05 broke. Then you break the back test pivot at 28.98. Then you come down into the tick trend warning pivot, 28.87. That breaks. And then you get this waterfall decline. And I'll show you on the oscillators in a minute exactly what broke and where it broke. But this, again, this is about as much technical damage as you can do in one trading day. Now, what does that mean for tomorrow? You know, the market's going to trade up and down, but there are longer-term implications for this. We had this type of technical damage back on January 22nd, which was a Wednesday. And we had a real nasty day 2 days later on January 24th, which was a Friday. And if you go to our website, mercurysignals.com, one of the menu items at the top of the page, it either says weekly report or market report, and they're all in there chronologically. Go back to the one that was written on the weekend on January 25th, and you'll see that chart from the 22nd. We shorted it at the open on the 22nd, the 24th. There were 4 days within about a week where we shorted right off the open, but all of that is documented. And when I wrote that report on the weekend of January 25th, I noted that that technical damage that was done over those couple days was going to have very important long-term implications. And we saw that with what happened in February and March. So continuing with all the technical damage today. So you broke the multi-day trend short cycle pivot up here at 29.14. Then after that, you come down and you break the multi-day trend long cycle pivot, which was at 28.85. Then you come down into another acceleration pivot. So this one was the tick acceleration pivot. This is what we call a price acceleration pivot. This one's based on time price cycles. This is based on time and tick cycles. And just like the acceleration pivot up here, when ES has to travel a long way to get to an acceleration pivot, it will typically hold the first time down, albeit briefly. And you get a little bounce up to around 79 or 80 and then splat. And then you come down to a swing trend pivot at 28.58. Now, this is where the trouble starts. As we noted for our subscribers, that trade below 28.58, whether it came today, tomorrow, next week, 28.58, a break of that level was going to be a problem. And then once that area broke, this is what you got into the futures close at 39.25, which is actually where we're trading right now, 39 as I record this. Now, if you follow my Twitter feed, you can either search for Mark Anthony or just search for the handle, which is at MC2085, 2085. I posted this morning that May the 12th was a key cycle turn date. Now, we don't use standard cycles. There's a very mathematically precise way that we do the day count. And what you do is you take important highs or lows, and then at a certain amount of days, you have what we call a cycle turn or a swing turn date. Well, you take the April 2nd low at 24.24. That occurred in the morning. The cycle is 40.66 days. That gives you Tuesday the 12th in the afternoon. So this information was provided to our subscribers yesterday on the 11th, that today was an important cycle turn date, specifically in the afternoon. It was published on Twitter today. Naturally, this information was given to our subscribers first. It was published on Twitter today at 9:30 a.m. And at the time of that posting, ES was trading 29.34. And you saw what we got this afternoon. And by the way, these cycle dates, and I've said this before, everything in nature is tied together through mathematics. The mathematics that produce this day count comes from the periodic table of elements. Remember chemistry class in high school? There are very specific elements, and the mathematics of how these number of elements relate to Mercury, the element, is where this comes from. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, 40.66 days, who would come up with that? So this was all given to our members yesterday. It was posted on Twitter this morning. This is what happened. I want to show you one more thing, and that is the algo oscillators, because I want to show you what broke and when it broke. So you can see the spacing in these. This is normal spacing, okay? The white oscillators are short-term oscillators. The dashed white one is the fastest. And then after that, in sequence of longer time, you've got the solid white one, the dotted white one. The orange ones are trend oscillators. This is the faster of the two. This is the longer cycle of the two. Then you've got acceleration oscillators, and then we've got really long-term stuff. This red dashed line, that's not a horizontal line. That's an algo oscillator. It moves so slow it appears as a straight line, but you can see over here on the left of the chart, it starts coming in at about 66 last Thursday. And today when it broke, it was at 71-ish. So what I want to point out is these areas here with the shaded bubbles. You come down literally to the tick to this second of the two swing oscillators or trend oscillators. You get this very significant reaction move up. You come down again to the tick, to the same one. You get a move back up to 29.14. Remember, 29.14 to 16, this is where all this stuff was. Okay, all of these. Sorry, I need to get back to the real chart. You come down again, this time to within a couple of ticks. And then this is the one that broke. Now, note these came down and immediately, reflexively went back up. Comes down, reflexively goes back up. Comes down, reflexively goes back up. This time it fought over it, and then it released. Now, when price goes through one of these algo oscillators, it's going to go to the next one. So it goes from this orange oscillator to this cyan one here, and that breaks. Then it comes down to the next one, tries to hold, and it breaks. And this was the big problem. This is the really long-term oscillator. Came in right around 71.50-ish. And when that broke, that is the really significant technical damage. Now, don't just write down 29 or 28.71. These oscillators move every day. And that's part of the value we provide to our subscribers, because they see this on the live chart every day. So you take action when price breaks these levels, like right here. I mentioned we shorted today at 29.21.50. Why? Well, number one, and you don't have to worry about interpreting this, because for our subscribers, it was right here. But we also provide on the live chart these oscillators, which is just a moving, breathing, live interpretation of some of our key algos. And you can see it broke here, came down to here, broke there, came down to here, bounced back up to one of the horizontal pivots, and then these successively break. But this was the problem right here. And when that broke, I mean, you can see over here, this goes back to Thursday last week. And you can see how important this level was. And you did all this nonsense up here, and then it broke. All of this support here, gone in the blink of an eye. So if you haven't been to our website, it's mercurysignals.com. We hope you'll check it out. There truly is not a consumer-based system that does what ours does. There are very, very, very expensive institutional systems that do the things ours does. And that's why ours is so accurate, because it's available for you, the trader who's, trading out of your home, maybe trying to make a few extra bucks, maybe doing this for a living. I promise you, we give you an edge that does not exist anyplace else for a consumer. And it's available for you without having to buy software. It's available without contracts or commitments. We don't even bill monthly, for crying out loud. You get billed once every 2 weeks. You can cancel anytime you want. As I mentioned in videos earlier this week and the end of last week, our rates are going up after May 15th, and this is the lowest rate we have ever offered. And the cool thing about our system, our service, and hopefully this gives you an idea about the way we run our business, no matter how low the price is at the time you subscribe, you get a lifetime rate lock. No contracts, so you get the best of both worlds. You can leave anytime you want, no contracts, but the rate you get when you start, that is guaranteed for life, no matter what the rates go up to in the future. That's going to be a wrap for tonight, and I want to close this video the way we always close, and that is this.
Connection lost.
There are things that are much, much more important than trading. And we've got very difficult things going on right now. I don't need to tell you that, although I certainly do hope you and your family are well. But there are things much more important than anything that I talked about on this video. God loves you very, very much. And we all go through struggles. Don't go through them without Him. He'll always be there for you. And if you don't have a relationship with the Lord, I really urge you to to think about that. So we thank you for your time. We hope everyone in your family, in your life, in your circle of friends is healthy. Most importantly, God bless you. God bless your family. We thank you for your time, and we hope to see you again real soon.